Thank you very much, Leslie, and good morning, everybody. It is exciting to be so early in the morning. I'm sure everybody is very excited about having great discussions today. But first of all, let me thank Alessia and Alan for giving us an opportunity for us to get together for more than a year now and get the first initiative going for FTI and transitioning it to the full project. So thank you very much, and thank you everybody for having a great collaboration for last year. I'm just representing the whole team of people. There were 10 to 12 people, and maybe growing now, who got together every week and worked on various solutions that we want to work in the space of memory expansion, software-defined memory, hardware-software co-design. So I'm just a representative reporting what we did for last year to come to where we are now. So let me just quickly walk through what we'll go through in next 10 minutes quickly. Talk about FTI SDM, how we started, talk about team charter, how we picked, what methods we picked for going through the deliberation last year to look at tangible outcomes that we can achieve, where we are now, and graduation. So SDM, we started with three initiatives we started, and software-defined memory was one of the FTI's focus areas, February 2021. We looked at our charter to identify a key application, because we started with software-defined memory. We had a nebulous idea of what that would mean. So first we said, let's look at what applications are there. Go out. We went out and did a survey. What matters to people from memory perspective? The goal was to establish common language, nomenclature, so that all of us who are getting together have a common goal and direction from the memory perspective. And then guide the industry with a tangible way to measure the success through benchmarks and metrics. So these are the three main things that we identified for driving this hardware-software co-design, because we had seen that a co-design is going to be the key method for us to really drive the industry to provide a guidance from end-user use cases, and then come with the proposals specifically how we to solve the problems using those benchmarks and metrics for those use cases. We have very wide participation. Thank you very much to the whole team which has done this work. We had participation from device and system vendors. We had CPU vendors. We had CSPs providing the use cases and the enterprise customers. We had ISVs participating from the software perspective, and then of course analysts. So we had very well-rounded team that could come from different angles, think about the problem, and look at what solutions we can drive together. And that really has been the key contributing factor for us to be able to say confidently that we generally understand this space and what needs to happen, how we can go and do it together in a true OCP spirit of doing it together. So we put down a plan. Again, I must thank Alan for this first. He had helped me put the plan together to say what we want to do and achieve. And we started with modest goals and say that, okay, we want to achieve something in 2 years. But then as we start working together, we specifically put a plan together. How do we start going out, evangelizing it? How do we start enabling things? How we can demonstrate? So it helped us to really identify firm steps to go towards what we want to do going forward. And that has helped us to now considering how we can exit from the FTI and graduate into the real world of OCP. I won't say real world, but it's actually a practical deployment kind of a world. We formed focus area teams, and many people stepped up to lead the explorations in various areas of common themes that were evolving in the industry for software-defined memory, from use case perspective, from end-user interest perspective, and also what their sensitivities were there from the adoption perspective. So we had use cases like database caching, AI/ML, and HPC came out to be the leading use cases in addition to the virtualized servers. We wanted to make sure that we cover all the angles. We wanted to make sure the university and research community is enabled in the true spirit to work with FTS to make sure that we can keep the pipeline flowing. And also we had the analyst community involved so that we can get an external sense of how this work is going to be relevant for the overall industry. So the goal was basically to make sure that we form the focus areas, we get the participation increasing, have a specific deliverables understood. And we had a cadence for meetings on a regular meetings. We created what we decided as a blueprint for the work so that we can have for each of these tracks, specifically for the applications, a consistent wording or consistent outcome for what kind of use case is there, what hardware solution, what would be the software contribution that needs to go along with, how to test it. So we created a common template to make sure that we have consistent representation for all the use cases as we start firming up the work for the software-defined memory solutions. The key thing was really commitment from the whole team for really participating and joining together on a weekly basis, which is a tremendous contribution, at the same time commitment that I can see from the team, because they showed up for weekly meetings. We had a bi-weekly meeting for the core team for progress, and then bi-weekly meeting for each individual use case where focus area teams were leading those discussions. Where we are now is basically we identified that we have work in basically 4 areas. We see memory expansion happening in the local systems. Then we're looking at the use cases which are pooled memory expansion, and then going into the future use cases as CXL 3.0 comes to fruition. We are looking at memory switches, memory systems, and really make more memory fabric as a reality. The 4th area that is very exciting and interesting also is basically the near memory compute. It's in the early phase of exploration, but where we start seeing that memory starts becoming more part of the overall compute by making sure that we have specific things running closer to compute. This is a still nebulous area. Local memory expansion, pooled memory expansion, memory switches, we have more work being explored as we start defining more in the near memory compute, and we look forward to working with new work stream that is being defined in the FTI now, so that we can write contributions from the team. Specifically, we are in OCP. That means we are really looking for contribution from specifications perspective. So we look forward to really defining hardware specification and software specification with benchmarks, metrics, tools, orchestration. So as we start getting together, work is expanding. We have people coming forward. As the CXL starts becoming the interconnect by default to this solution, the products are getting slowly announced in the space from the CPU perspective, from device perspective, and adoption perspective. So we have people really contributing, looking forward to contributing into OCP and really using this community to create a large ecosystem. So with all that fast speech, let me come to the final point that I'm really happy that actually we have good support from the community. We have support from the server team to welcome us into their fold as a sub-project in server. So we are very happy to announce that we are graduating from FTI as a OCP sub-project with the name Composable Memory Systems. So thank you very much, everybody.